Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild, all his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off. Online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and in today's episode, we are joined by a very special guest, former professional hockey player and current coach, Jared Nightingale. Jared spent 12 seasons playing professional hockey in the ECHL and the AHL. He played college hockey for 4 seasons with Michigan State University, as well as where he was an assistant captain for 2 years. Jared is the associate head coach for the Saginaw Spirit in the OHL, and also runs a hockey camp with some former teammates called Great Lakes Hockey. So very excited to have you on, Jared. So welcome to the show, Jared Nightingale.
Thanks, Jack. Really honored to be on your show.
Yeah, no problem. So like, Jared, how are you? Like, things are crazy, especially like in the OHL right now. So like, what's been happening with you, and like, how have you been?
It's kind of, I feel like I've been saying this a lot. It's put this whole, last year and this year, put things in perspective. In the league that I'm coaching in, the Ontario Hockey League, it's a junior hockey league similar to the USHL in the States, like same age group. But yeah, our season's been postponed twice. We've heard no word back yet from the league, and hopefully we can start in the next month, or at least have an answer. But what makes it tricky with our league is, there's 20 teams in our league, 17 of them are in Ontario in Canada. So you bring the border into play, and if anybody has followed, Canada is almost a little tighter than, especially Ontario, than the U.S. So it's just another hurdle, for the league to try to figure out with the Canadian government. So there's a lot of obstacles. Try to really, our coaching staff's been coming in the last month or so, just trying to be on call and ready for when we do get things rolling.
Yeah, that's a tough situation to be in, but at least the coaching staff's trying to like stay like positive and get everything going like whenever you guys are able to. It's like, what have you guys been able to practice or anything, or is you just can't do anything right now?
No, yeah, there's for about, I'd say 2.5 months, we were having some skates down in the Detroit area, in Plymouth, Michigan, and in Troy, Michigan. I'd say out of our whole team, majority of our team is Canadian. So those kids are back home and trying to find ice. There's a handful of kids that play for Saginaw that are in the Detroit area that came to those skates. A lot of my former teammates were in those skates, like some NHL guys, AHL guys, other junior players. So I was going down there to just kind of help those guys and run a skate every morning, weekdays. It kind of got me out of the routine of just sitting at home and twiddling my thumbs. So it was good to get on the ice. Obviously, it's not like a regular hockey season, but the last 2 weeks we've been up in Saginaw, and the Michigan kids have come out, and we've been, trying to make the most of it.
Yeah, that's at least good. You got to make the most out of every situation you can get, and
Right.
especially during these times when it's literally day to day. Like
Yeah,
there's nothing else to it. You just got to do whatever you got to do at that time
for
to
sure.
get ready. So, can you give like our viewers a little background information on yourself, like throughout your career and like into your coaching career now, and just like when you started, why you started playing the game, and like your journey so far?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm the youngest of three brothers. So I grew up in northern Michigan. If anybody's familiar, like just below the UP. So a place called Sheboygan, Michigan. And when my brothers and I started playing, our parents got us into it. There was an outdoor rink in Sheboygan. And just like any younger brother, I was the youngest of three. So I kind of just did whatever my older brothers did. And, they love the game. Probably I'd say 3 years in, my first 3 years were outdoor hockey, and then, which was pretty interesting looking back, weather permitting, sometimes you don't even, you don't know if you're going to have games. Did I lose you here?
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay. Sorry. My computer's acting up, but anyways, yeah. So, I'd say about year 3, our community decided to, build an indoor ice rink, and really that kind of spiked the interest for the whole community, and we kind of followed suit. Um, I know my brothers, got a little bit more serious, uh, and all the way up till I'd say 10th grade, I decided to move away from home and move to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, to play travel hockey. At the time there wasn't travel hockey in my hometown, and hockey was something that I wanted to pursue, and it was a passion, became a passion. And my parents made a ton of sacrifices. I'm sure almost every hockey player has stories of sacrifices that their parents made. So we moved away. My brothers also did, to pursue, with the goal at the time. I wanted to play college hockey, and we grew up watching the Lake Superior State Lakers. Again, and back in the 90s, they were kind of the team. They won 3 national championships. It was really a hot ticket. That also really fueled the passion for me to pursue college hockey. So I made the move, and I lived up in the Sioux for 4 years, and I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship to Michigan State. And from 2002, 2006, went to Michigan State, played with my middle brother Adam there, really special. And even till I retired, I went back to East Lansing every year and trained and skated. It's a tight knit family at Michigan State. So, and really, right when I walked in the door there, it was always just my goal to play college hockey, and that was my vision. Then you arrive there, and it's kind of then it's your goal to see, can I play beyond college hockey? And you're playing with a lot of different players that go on to play in the NHL. Michigan State had storied program and was around a lot of players that had long NHL careers. So, that became a goal. And I was fortunate enough to uh, play professionally. It was all in the minor leagues, like you mentioned, in the East Coast League and then the American League. Bounced around quite a bit, saw the country. But yeah, really, really fortunate looking back, to play 12 years. Really, it all started with the sacrifices from my parents and my brothers paving the way. I felt like, obviously, none of that would have been possible without those sacrifices. So I just retired. This would have been my 4th year coaching. So my last year was in 2017 with the Chicago Wolves. And I got right into coaching. I spent my first year was in Omaha in the USHL under Dave Wilkie. Really fortunate. We had a really good team. Really learned a lot that year. You dive right in, and it's kind of almost starting over, trying to see things from a coach's perspective. And then I was fortunate enough then in year 2, I got a job with USA Hockey in Plymouth, Michigan, with the development program, as an assistant coach, or an intern assistant, they call it. Got a great, wealth of experience in international hockey, which I had never been a part of growing up. So to be able to see that, be able to go to Europe for the first time, really, really thankful for that. And then last year was my first year. I got a call to, Saginaw in the Ontario Hockey League. The head coach had reached out to me through a mutual, connection. And again, it's funny how things work out. I was able to get that job. And if anybody knows how it works with major junior, which is the OHL, these players decide to go this route. So they're not going to go play college hockey. So I did a totally different route. So to be on this side of the fence with major junior hockey, I played with a lot of major junior players in my pro career. Ton of respect for it. It almost feels like it does feel like pro hockey. The amount of games, these kids come to the rink, they treat it like a job. So this was going to be year 2. I'm really happy and fortunate with where I'm at.
Yeah, that's a great backstory there, and just like going back to like when you said you had outdoor hockey for the first 3 years, like what was that like, and just like you said, you like depending on the weather, but like what was that like? Because not a lot of people just experience that right from the start. It's like, what was that like for you?
It was awesome. Both my brothers played college hockey, and it's pretty amazing for them, especially my oldest brother Jason. He played till he was like a bantam, and he went on and played college hockey. To grow up, not only not playing travel hockey, but to play outdoor hockey till you're bantam, that's pretty rare. But special memories for sure. I remember instead of glass, we had chicken wire fencing. There was no Zamboni. It was like a aircraft sweeper that come out there. And I remember, hearing actually from my dad, a lot of the dads would go out to shovel snow between periods or before games. It was really a community effort. We had one warming room. You dress next to the opponents that you're playing that day. So really special looking back. Again, I think that really started and lit the fire for me. There's nothing like playing hockey outdoors. It's fun. Usually each community has an outdoor city like rink for just open skate, but to be able to actually play the game outside and compete with it, it's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And it's awesome that you experienced that, because not a lot of people do, and it just seems like it's a community thing, like you said. Like imagine like you having beef with the other team and you're sitting right next to them on when you're getting dressed. That must be a whole nother experience. Did you ever experience something like that?
No, really the only memory, because I was so young, I just remember when I get off the ice, it'd be pretty cold. I remember every time I took my skates off, it burned so bad because your feet are frozen, and as a little kid, you don't like anything that's discomforting. So I remember I used to cry, and one of the dads would take off the skates. I remember he'd always warm up my feet afterwards. So painful, but that's probably my only memory of that. And obviously playing with the kids. I grew up, it was a small community, and my best friends played hockey. Special memories with them for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So like going into like your junior career a little bit here, you played in the Null for the Sioux Indians for 3 seasons, or you didn't?
No, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Two and a little bit. Yeah.
Two and a little bit, yeah. Before going to Michigan State University for 4 years. It's like, what were those 3 or 2 and some change years of playing in the Null like for you and developing into the hockey player that you wanted to be to go on to that college route?
Yeah, really, that was maybe one of the first steps in kind of you develop your game. Not only, you take off, at the time we didn't have to wear half shields. I remember that was kind of the first step, like I don't have to wear a cage. And my brother had played on the team before, the year before. So I followed the NAHL, and I watched a lot of games up in the Sioux. And at the time, there was only about 11 or 12 teams in the league. So there's a lot of rivalries, high competition. I know there's close to 30 now. So it was quite a bit different. And it was old school hockey. It's pretty rare you didn't come out of a game where there was 2 or 3 fights, a lot of hacking and whacking. And the Sioux had a good team. We lost my first year. We lost in the finals to Texas. Texas, where we had to bus, 25 hours for the finals. I couldn't even imagine doing that now, but at the time you don't know any different. So there's a lot of pride up in the Sioux. We met a lot of my family and I really, another thing that things happen for a reason. A lot of families that we're still close with today that kind of only fueled the passion to want to be a hockey player and to be a good teammate. So those are really special years and really kind of set the foundation for me not only getting to Michigan State but playing beyond.
Yeah, that's awesome that like everything you went through that those years to get you to playing at Michigan State. So like,
Yep.
did you face any struggles throughout your time in the North American League that you had to overcome? And like, if you did, like, how did you do that?
Yeah, for sure. I think everybody, if you're honest, yeah, there's always struggles. Looking back, I think confidence and the belief in yourself. When I first got there, I was a younger player, younger defenseman. I was very fortunate to have really good teammates. Not only, my brother Adam was the captain the year before I got there. I always kind of would look up to him. Again, he really kind of paved the way for me. So did my brother Jason, who was playing for Lake State at the time in the same town. But really good teammates. I think is Sean Leahy. He was the captain when I was there. We played kind of similar roles, defensive defenseman, tough to play against. So I tried always to soak it in with him. And then our head coach, Joe Shawn, he's the head coach of Michigan Tech now. And then our assistant coach, Rick Corbiere, we call him Big Daddy. Really special people. When I look back to junior hockey, I don't think at the time I was so thrilled to be playing. I didn't face any major injuries then. I did later in my career, but I think just trying to build confidence in your game. You're playing against, at the time you think you're playing against men. But I had a lot, like I said, the coaches between Joe Shawn and Rick Corbiere really made the transition that much easier.
Yeah, for sure. And just that confidence and that belief in yourself really does make a difference because if you don't have it, like you're not going to perform to the best of your abilities. Whereas if you are, like you could do big things. So it's good that you learned that like at the start of your junior career to take that momentum all the way up to college, pros, even coaching now, like just having confidence in what you're doing as a coach and helping your team try to win some games.
Right.
Yeah. So like, what was the junior hockey process like for you to find a team? Like when you first came into junior hockey, especially during like your time when you went to junior hockey.
Oh, well, I moved up there my 10th grade year and I played midget AAA in the Sioux. And they teams have so many, they call them tenders, where they can, instead of like you get drafted by the team or you make the team out of tryouts, you can sign tenders, which they have your rights. And I signed a tender with the Sioux Indians. And so I was pretty much locked in. Again, I think I kind of had a good connection that my brother had played there and really good reputation. I was around the team. So I stepped in and I still, I went to camp. And again, at the time, hockey's a lot different. I remember, trying to prove yourself in camp. I think it was pretty rare. If I didn't get in 4 or 5 fights in a 4 or 5 day span for camps, and I wasn't the only one. A lot of players, especially the way I played, you want to impress the coaches, you want to make an impact. I wasn't the type of player that was going to go out there and score a pretty goal, but I wanted to show that I was here and I wanted to make the team, and in a way to show that was to drop the gloves. So I remember that's probably my biggest memory at tryout camps. It was a lot different than it was now. You tried to impress the coaches and use any tool that you had in your toolbox, and that just happened to be one of mine.
Yeah, for sure. That the game has definitely changed a lot since then. Like just like you don't see as many fighters now as you used to, which
Yeah.
I really would like to see more fights because it's fun to watch from like the fans' perspective, but like from like the players, like
Yeah.
it's definitely transitioned to like a skill game and just being just it's a lot faster too. So
Oh
just
yeah. I don't
the
think
whole
hockey's
different
ever
ball
been
game.
better. Yeah. Yeah. But looking back, I don't think at that level, I'd have a tough time being a coach and watching kids fight each other at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday up in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. I know my last year I went there, I got knocked out cold. That was the only time I got knocked out cold. And to tell you, how things were back then, usually now with the concussion protocols and, you got to be away from the ring for 2 weeks. I remember they put me right back on the bench and I couldn't even see across the ice. And I think I tried to play another shift and I couldn't even function. So it was a different world. I do think I agree with you. I don't think hockey's ever been better. It's fun to watch. It's high pace, skill. But yeah, there is definitely a place for fighting and the players policing themselves.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. So like when you first started playing junior hockey, did you think you were ready when you went right into the null, or or like how do you see yourself versus when you first started versus like after your entire junior career and like looking back into it?
Yeah, I think what helped was my first year we had one of the best teams in the league, and then whenever you're around really good veteran players and a good organization, it always makes the transition easier for younger players. So I felt comfortable right off the bat. And then, like we were talking in the beginning, confidence is everything. I think, I entered into year two. I already had to sign my college scholarship, which is usually the goal when you go to play junior hockey. So I did have more confidence. The game, I wouldn't say got easier, but you have more belief in yourself and you do improve. I mean, that's a really ripe age. That's kind of the group that we're coaching right now. It makes it so fun is kids are very impressionable from one off season to the next, 1 month to month. You can improve quite a bit. So again, I was really a lot of credit to the coaches that we had and my brothers and the teammates. It made it much easier to improve.
Yeah, 100%. It's so like good to see like as a coach and even as a player, like when you're seeing guys like get better and like keep working hard and getting
Yeah,
better each and every year, like you're doing something right as a coach and like
right.
especially as a player themselves and just keeping themselves accountable. So that must be a really good feeling like every single way.
Yeah, exactly. Like you actually come to my mind, Jack, when you first started coming to our camps, and then to see this last year. I know you took a year off, but even seeing little steps in progress and seeing, most importantly, like your passion for the game, your hunger, I think that's really rewarding as a coach.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The camp was really fun and just even being the oldest guy
Yeah,
out there besides like you guys obviously and just helping the kids learn like not get so like down on themselves when
yeah,
like especially the goalies when they give up a goal like I helped the goalies out and like just you just can't get so super mad at yourself and like super tense and you just got to relax out there and just play your game. Like that's all that it
right.
comes down to.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with that. I tell you, I couldn't be a goalie. That'd be. I think I wear my emotions too much, but yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. It's hockey's a game of mistakes. Usually the best players that not only best players, best teammates is how you handle those mistakes. Everybody makes them. Uh,
Yeah.
Respond in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. So like obviously like you're a leader. Like I've known you for the past like 2 years. So like and I know that you're a leader. So like you started this role like right away in the null. Like you're in your second season. You're an assistant captain, I believe. So like what what is it about like being that leadership, being the leadership role out there and just having the guys look up to you?
Well, you try not to change anything. Really, yeah. With any team, if you're a captain, usually the players, the coach, they pick that and they pick it for a reason. They don't pick it and then you have to change. So biggest thing is stay true to yourself and what you are. Don't be anything that you're not. Um, but I've said this in the past. I think that a real leader is kind of a good quality is where your heart's at. Um, not saying that I was the perfect leader and that I always did this, but I think more often times than not, when you try to put others ahead of yourself, um, and it's not just about you and your problems and you and your game. I think the best leaders that I've played for, um, had a really good pulse on their teammates, had a good pulse on everything going on sensitive to other people's feelings and respectful, not just to the teammates, but to people in the community, people in the rink. It's a great opportunity when you wear a letter on a hockey team to be an example at the rink, away from the rink. Really, you're kind of the rudder of a ship. You have a huge influence in the direction of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't you agree with you more there? So then after your junior career, you went on to 4 years at Michigan State University. It's like, what was that like commitment process like to commit to play NCAA Division I hockey and sign for Michigan State?
Yeah, it was a huge blessing. And another thing, where I think originally I was signed with Lake Superior State University, and both my older brothers were. We were all going to play together. Jason was going to be a senior, Adam a junior, and I was coming in as a freshman. And then last second, it didn't work out. And pretty much that week, Michigan State contacted me, went on a visit. And if you grow up in Michigan, obviously it's a no-brainer, Michigan State hockey. At the time we came in, Ryan Miller just won the Hobie Baker. The team that I went to, Duncan Keith, was my D partner there. My freshman year, he only stayed half the year, but you're going to a team that, everybody knows about, very respected. So I was, I had to pinch myself, to be honest with you, that I was going to play for the Spartans. And that was probably more of a challenge confidence-wise coming in. They get top recruits and there's top players. You gotta be, it's a process to, and confidence isn't built overnight. So again, we talk about leaders. Brad Fast was our captain. He went on a long career. He still lives in East Lansing. He was one of the biggest role models in my hockey life. John Michael Lyles had a long NHL career. He was a senior on that team. Jim Slater played a long time in the NHL. And not just guys like that, even guys, Joe Markison, names that guys didn't play long professionally, but just good teammates, made the transition easier, made me feel comfortable. So it was a thrill. I still look back. Probably Michigan State I missed the most. Those years, they go by quick. And I was really happy, by each year we seemed to get better and better. And our senior year was our best year. My class, we won the league. We were a game away from the Frozen Four. And then the next year they actually won the national championship. So that was a thrill to see, most of your teammates, win it all. Really, really special.
Yeah, for sure. So like throughout all your 4 years at Michigan State, you're a big part of the lineup. It's like, what do you think helped you be so successful during that time, and especially playing with like guys like you mentioned before, and just playing against guys that made it to the NHL, AHL, wherever they're playing? It's like, what do you think helped you become so successful there?
Well, I think you're in there, you live there all year round, and you're working out with the team, and even the off seasons. But each year, kind of your role gets bigger and bigger. You're an upper class, you're sophomore, you're junior, you're senior. I think you grow a sense of pride for the school. That's the cool thing about college hockey, that you go to football games, basketball games, kind of you're all on one team. But again, just like junior hockey, I had really good coaches. Rick Comley, he's not there anymore. Awesome. He's the reason why I was able to go to Michigan State. It was his first year and he recruited me. Tom Newton, Dave McAuliffe, Brian Renfrew, our assistant coaches, and then our strength coach, Mike Vorkapich, who worked with us all year round. Really, to have success or to improve, it's about your environment, and Michigan State is A+ in every category. Kids are incredibly spoiled, and I mean that in a good way. Everything's at your fingertips there to improve. Really, if you don't improve, it's more of a reflection on you. So again, I was very fortunate to be a Spartan and to have the opportunity to improve there.
Yeah, for sure. And just being in a great organization like Michigan State, and like how successful they are, it just really like takes like you know that you're going to a good organization, especially when like they treat you well, they treat everyone like family and all that.
Yep.
It must have been really nice. Just you must have felt right at home right away.
For sure. Like I said, I spent every off season there. Lifelong friends. I probably became the closest with their equipment manager in the summers. I was a rink rat, all the way up until my 30s when I was still playing. He was kind of my golfing buddy, and we grabbed lunch almost every day. His name's Tom McGee. He's still there. He's on like year 40. Uh, Looking back, those are the things I miss the most. And we're still, obviously, I'm still friends with all the staff and the players there. And then our athletic trainer was in college hockey for the longest time. He just retired, Ace. His name's Dave Carrier. They always made you feel comfortable coming back because it is a family. So, yeah, it's a very special place. Whenever I go back, there's just the memories are endless. I usually try to go back to a football game, one or two a year. Obviously, Michigan State basketball is usually always making runs in the tournament. It makes it fun, but yeah, it's definitely a family there.
Yeah, great environment there for sure. So
Yep.
like, what was it like scoring your first college goal? And do you remember getting that first goal?
Well, I only had two college goals. Yeah, it was my freshman year actually at Lake State, which made it special. I grew up, uh, you know, idolizing the Lakers. Like I was telling you, I was committed to them, and then, yeah, I still remember it clear. And then I didn't score until my senior year, uh, which is crazy, But yeah, you never finish. Even when you're young, it's kind of the same feeling. The older you get, you never lose that excitement than scoring a goal.
Yeah, for sure. But even though you didn't score, you still only scored two goals. You're a stable person in the lineup, so that's
If
like
any,
you're getting minutes, you're getting playing time. Like that's all that helps into developing you as a player. So that's at least good that you got that time.
oh yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So like, what were some of your favorite memories playing college hockey?
Well, my favorite was probably the first time you put on the Michigan State uniform. There's a Christmas tournament called the Great Lakes Invitational. It's the GLI. It's always around December 28th, 29th. Any kid in Michigan, you grow up on the cable. It's always Michigan Tech, Michigan State, and they always have one invite. And usually they're pretty good schools like North Dakota or Boston College, Boston University. Um, Playing in that every year because everybody's on their Christmas break at Joe Louis Arena where the Red Wings used to play. That was always a really, really fun memory. And then obviously the games against Michigan. Both arenas are rowdy, and they go up 10 levels when they play each other. We used to play one game a year at Joe Louis Arena against Michigan every year, and they still do it. And we'd sell out Joe Louis Arena
That's
20,000
sick.
every. Yeah, it was awesome. So we, look at both teams. Michigan's lineup was loaded with obviously really talented players, and so was ours. So they were always tight games. I think there was a stretch. There's like 23 straight games that there were one goal or ties with Michigan. Um, so that's probably one of the most special. And then cap it off, like I said, my senior year, we won the league championship, got a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. It felt really good to leave Michigan State, winning something and improving. And then probably even after in 2007, it was my rookie year pro, being able to turn on ESPN and watching them win the national championship, which was an unbelievable run. They were one of the last teams in the tournament, and then they got hot, and that felt really special. You almost felt a part of it for sure.
Yeah, that's unreal. So then after your senior year, you decided to go pro. So and you went on to sign right after your season ended. It's like you
Yep.
played for Springfield for the Falcons in the AHL. So like what was that first taste of pro hockey like? And like what did you learn throughout that time?
Oh, it was awesome. To get to call it. Springfield was already they're in the American League. They're still in the American League. They were out of the playoffs, so it's usually what happens. Teams call up and sign college players, see if they have something there. And I went there. I got a lot of ice time. Played 10 games, and really, really good experience. Looking back, I felt like I felt more confident on the ice. You take off the cage and you're playing with these guys, some guys that you've seen in the NHL. It was pretty surreal. It went quick, but it was really valuable for me as far as even deepening the hunger for me that, I think that this was a league that I could play in. It didn't come easy. It took me a couple of years to get back to the American League, but yeah, it was huge just to know that you're capable of playing at that level.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just getting that first taste like must have been like very emotional because you're there and like you work so hard and then you're playing and so like what was that first pro game like and just being on the ice at the time and just having it circling it all in.
Yeah, I think like anything, you get butterflies, but I can't really remember exactly the first game. I can't remember them all. It's also crazy. I mean, 2 goals pro. I think I scored my second game there, and I was like, this is crazy. Like the guys back home have to be dying laughing. But it was awesome. A lot of the guys that I met made the experience so much more easy, made it easier. It went quick. It was only about 3-4 weeks. You just played 10 games, and then I went back to Michigan State. But again, it gave me a lot more confidence coming back, training this summer, preparing for my first full rookie year. Really special. It was really special.
Yeah, for sure. So then you go into your first full rookie season with the Iowa Stars of the AHL. It's like, what was your experience playing in Iowa for your first like a full pro season? Just everything you've learned from that stint with Springfield.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, I spent the majority of that year in Idaho. I signed a 2-way AHL ECHL contract, and I did not make Iowa out of training camp. I was sent to Idaho, who was awesome. If anybody's been to Boise, it's amazing. I went there. I had a call up. I think I played like 8 or 9 games, and then I was sent down, and I only played 11 or so with Idaho. And I probably one of the biggest challenges in my career. I tore my ACL in Salt Lake City, and that was in December, and my season ended at 8 month. Or I mean, ACL is pretty much you're out for the 6-7 months. So that was a real challenge mentally. I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep playing. I didn't play that much that year. And then I had to have surgery out in Idaho. You're away from home. And that was a really testing time. We had a good team. Looking back, a lot of good people I met there. And actually, we won it all in Idaho. So I stayed out there till June. Really special. But then, I kind of felt like I was unproven. Will I get a job? Where will I play? So that was definitely a testing time. Looking back, I wouldn't have traded it for anything though.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, what was that recovery like after your surgery, and like what did you have to do to help prepare yourself to play again and just get an opportunity to play anywhere?
Yeah, it was quite the process. My parents flew out there for the surgery. We had to wait a month for like the swelling to go down, and it's major surgery. And the doctor said, remember, it's important, right? As you wake up at home after the surgery, to don't just lay around, get the leg moving, so the scar tissue doesn't harden up. So I woke up from the drugs and whatever. And I wake up to my dad at the end of the couch. My dad was trying to move my ankle, move my leg back and forth. It killed. We always laugh about that now, but we actually, that day, we went up into the mountains in Boise. It was probably the dumbest decision because you go up in elevation and your leg's all cut up from a fresh major surgery. And my leg absolutely ballooned, and it did not make the process easier. I came back. They were worried I had blood clots, and rehab actually got put off like a week. You usually have to go in for rehab like right away again. So your movement and the scar tissue doesn't build up. So that was a funny memory looking back when I talk about it with my parents. They were out there. But probably the most special that year was the people at the rehab clinic. Scott Billings, he ran the rehab clinic. He was a local guy from Boise. I became really close, going there every day. Really good people. They kept my spirits up. And then, I had the full off season to pretty much strengthen my leg and hope to be able to play and, play beyond.
Yeah. So after all this happened, you guys won the championship, like you said. It's like, what was that like, and just being able to still be there and just be with the team?
It was great. I had the option to go back to Michigan State, and I wanted to stay in Boise. At the time I thought it'd be better to be around the guys because I wanted to keep playing, maybe play for Idaho again. But in all that free time, I did helped out the play-by-play guy. His name's Joe O'Donnell, radio. He's actually play-by-play guy now for the Iowa Wild. And we're really close. We're the same age, but I was the color guy for that whole season. And really awesome memories. And, in Boise, that's like their NHL team. So we had every game was on cable. So it was me and Joe. It's funny. So when we won it, actually a cool memory, when we won it in Dayton, Ohio, and I didn't fly out originally, but the team went up 3-1 and game 5 was in Dayton. They wanted to fly me, and because a local family was coming out with their own private jet. So I hopped on a jet from Boise day of and flew all the way to Dayton just so I could be the color man for the championship, game 5, which we did end up winning in Dayton.
Not a bad memory there.
No, not a bad memory. Really awesome looking back. And then we flew back, and obviously the whole community was pumped, with the guys, and such a special run. So it was really, looking back, like I said, I'd love to go back to Boise. It was really, really special time.
Yeah, even throughout like all the tough times, like you're able to still make the most out of it. And you were the color analyst there, and you're just having fun while you're still trying to get back at it and just get back in shape and get back on the ice. But like throughout the rest of your career, you spent time on multiple teams in both the American League and the Coast, with teams like the Wolves, the Ice Hogs, the Stars, the Wolfpack, the Whale, among some other AHL teams, and then the Charlotte Checkers, Toledo Walleye, Quad City Mallards, and the East Coast. It's like, what was your experience like going between leagues, coming up to the AHL, getting set down to the Coast, and playing in new cities for new teams a lot?
Yeah, it was special. I mean, every year brings different challenges and different hurdles, and that never changed. I think what made it special was the process. That's a lot of the advice I try to tell at least kids at our camp or even the players here is don't get too far ahead of yourself. I think as a player, I would always look at like the next year, and like, oh, I want to be here next year, instead of being more present. Because I really didn't get my crack in the American League. I think I played probably 100 East Coast games, and finally I cracked Hartford. That's really what got my foot in the door in the American League. But I was cut from Hartford the prior 2 years. So just, I think I'm looking back, I'm really thankful I didn't give in. I kept going and kept wanting to play, because then I went on, I played, quite a few games in Hartford, 4 years. Thought really established myself as an American League player. And then I went to Syracuse. We had we lost in the Calder Cup finals. Then I went to Rockford. And then, at the end of your career, it's not abnormal. I went back to the ECHL, and I hadn't played there in probably, 7 years. That was a challenge more mentally, but again, probably one of the best decisions I made was going to play in Toledo. It was a really special community, not far from home. My family was able to come to a lot of the games, and it also prolonged my career to get an opportunity at the Wolves. So if I didn't go to Toledo, I wouldn't have the opportunity to play for Chicago. I probably wouldn't have started Great Lakes Hockey Camp and had it in Hoffman Estates. Um, really, I think God works in mysterious ways and things happen for a reason. And looking back, I think it's easier to see like the steps along the journey, how the dots connect. Again, I feel so lucky to have played that long and play in that many different cities. I was pretty much a human suitcase for 12 years.
Hey, but you got the experience. You saw different cities, been to different teams, so you made the most out of it. And just like going back to like when you played for Rockford in Chicago, like you switched off between the rivalry because that rivalry is one of the best in the AHL in my opinion. And
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of other people think the same things. Like, what was it like switching from like Rockford to Chicago or from Chicago to Rockford in that rivalry?
Well, when I was in Rockford, Chicago used to pretty much have their way with us. They always have a good team, but heated rivalry. But it doesn't really, as a minor leaguer, it's pretty rare to have guys stay for 3-4 years in a row like the NHL rivalries. Where it's Yzerman and Sakic, for 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. I'd say the fans definitely feed into it more. But to go play for the Wolves after Rockford was really awesome experience. We're talking about having a Great Lakes hockey camp in Rockford this summer. Actually, that's where I met Terry Broadhurst, who's, pretty much the assistant with Great Lakes hockey in Rockford. But I was willing to play anywhere to play in the American League. When I went to the Wolves, I was just wanting to get back to the American League, and I was very fortunate that arguably Chicago is one of the top teams, especially organization-wise, and how they treat their players. To be able to go and play in a place like that in a city like Chicago, gosh, I couldn't have handpicked a better place to be. But it was a little bittersweet going back into Rockford. I shouldn't say bittersweet, but it was, you definitely got more up for that game. You're going to a rink that you had a lot of memories in, so it made it fun. And it wasn't far from home, so really, really fortunate to finish my career in the Midwest.
Yeah, for sure. And that just it's awesome hearing like the rivalry stories because that's like a big rivalry between the two
Yeah.
teams, and it's cool getting that, like especially when people go back and forth like you did, and just it's unreal hearing those stories.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's a lot of fun too being a fan of that rivalry.
Well, really, Jack, that year, I don't know if you did your homework. I think it was 14-15. I think I played in every team in that whole division. I played on 6 teams. I played for Milwaukee. I went to Cleveland's camp. I got cut. Went to Milwaukee. Went to Grand Rapids. Played for the Wolves. Obviously played for Rockford. The only team missing was Iowa, and that's what I played for Iowa in my rookie year. So I was literally a suitcase.
Had a little bit of everything in the Central Division.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen it all.
Yeah, for sure. So like throughout like your time in the AHL in the coast, like what were some of your favorite cities that you played in and visited?
Honestly, every city has its own you know things that are pretty cool. I really enjoyed Syracuse. Syracuse gets some of the most snowfall in the country, but it's a blue collar city. The fans are electric. An old building called the War Memorial. Um, that was really special. Obviously, Chicago, Boise, maybe the most. As far as everything together, the beautiful weather, the mountains, the water, skiing. Great fan base. Charlotte was really special. Every community, even Toledo, to be that close to home, and really that was probably the best. And all the minor league teams that I played for, nothing beat the atmosphere in the Huntington Center, ECHL or AHL. It's next level. If anybody gets a chance to go watch the Toledo Walleye and their production when they have a home game, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's unreal. So like another question I have is like what makes you willingly stand in front of like 90 mile per hour shots and block pucks as a defenseman?
Well, if you're supposed to block it, because you won't find a job. Different situations. There's a couple times I took them off the face too. I was very fortunate not to lose teeth Um, but yeah, it's definitely you want to try to catch it in the padding. That's what I'll
Yeah,
say.
that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a skill. There's a skill to blocking shots. Usually, the guys that get hurt blocking shots is when they get in front of it, but they really don't want to block it. That's usually when something bad happens. When you really want to block a shot, more times than not, you're not going to get hurt, and it's going to hit you
Somewhere where
where
the
it's not going to do major damage. I should be asking you that question. You're the one facing all the rubber.
Oh no, it's just probably the same thing. Like just stopping the puck from entering the net. Like
Right.
it's fun stopping them, but like this, you're also gonna get scored on, so that sucks. But
Oh
at
yeah,
least,
that
but
happens.
like just stopping it, it's fun. Like except when it hits something that hurts, then
Like the
it's a different
collarbone.
story. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So then after the 2017-2018 season, you decided to retire and you're now coaching and you started Great Lakes hockey. It's like, what made you get into coaching? Like you've coached some great teams in the USHL, the OHL, the U17 development team. It's like, what has your coaching been like so far?
It's been great. Again, I've always looked up to coaches, and they've had a big impact on my life. Starting with my dad. My dad coached me in baseball and hockey growing up. Um, he really special memories, but kind of the coaches I've mentioned, prior to this, the huge impact, and both my brothers got involved into coaching. Adam's actually my middle brother coaches at the USA development program right now. Jason coached, and then he works for the Buffalo Sabres, so they're involved in hockey. And kind of like growing up, I followed their lead. I have a passion for the sport. I love staying in it. It's kind of the next best thing to playing. But again, I've really looked up to a lot of coaches, a lot of mentors, and I just see it as another opportunity to stay in the game.
Yeah, for sure. So like what's it like being a coach, and like did you take like anything from like your playing days to put into like a coaching perspective? Like how do you do that if you do it?
For sure, I think you take everybody coaches or any profession. You are what you are from life experiences, and I was around hockey my whole life, and yeah, you learn things that work and learn things that don't. I think it's a little different as coach to as a being a player. Um, that each kid's different. Kids, there's more than one way to skin a cat. How you're going to teach something, but yeah, always a work in progress. Um, Again, all the head coaches that I've worked for, I've been really thankful. Even the coach here, Chris Lazary, um, he lets me be myself, not to the point where he's not going to have some constructive criticism, but where you can go to a work environment, you feel comfortable enough to be yourself, share ideas, and also want to listen. A lot of the coaches that I've worked for have been coaching for a long time, a lot longer than I am. So trying to be a sponge as much as possible, because learning never stops. I try to remind myself that. Um, but yeah, it's a process.
Yeah, I like how you said like soaking everything up like a sponge, because you do that as a player. Like you learn something every day that you play,
Right.
and then you do the same thing as a coach. And so, what do you look for like when you're looking at other coaches and just like trying to like pick their brains and like pick or like see something that they do that you like? Like how do you go around? How do you go about that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say, yeah, it's not even like it just kind of, it's not that I go in like when I have a conversation, I'm just looking for, I mean, you go in with a try to, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect, that I always do this, but you try to go in with a humble attitude. I think you can learn from anybody. Doesn't matter if you're coaching house league hockey, if you're coaching basketball, or you're a gym teacher. I think there's things you can learn from people. I like to study, uh, you know, business leaders, or John Wooden, the best college basketball coach as far as wins and losses. There's lots to be learned from that. Um, I really enjoy Bill Belichick. I enjoy Jeff Blashill with the Red Wings, who my brother worked for. I think you can learn from everybody. Even people like I was saying, that coach youth hockey. If you think you can go in there and you have all the answers, I think you're already in the wrong spot. I think your heart. So I try to again try to come with a humble attitude that you can learn from anybody, that you don't have all the answers. There's more than one way to teach something. So I try to, these guys especially have a lot more experience years wise in coaching. Try to pick things up from everybody.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. And just you got to find something to pick up on and learn from, and just develop your coaching, your player, your
Yep.
any skill, like work even outside of like sports, like just work on something that you want to do and pursue it. Yeah, so throughout all this, you also create a hockey camp with some former Wolves players and Rockford teammates, Scooter Vaughn, Terry Broadhurst. It's like, what went into the creation of Great Lakes hockey and the origins behind it?
Yeah, I kind of like middle to end of my career. I had friends that had started camps, and enjoyed it, and I always kind of had that in the back of my mind. And I tried to run a camp years prior in my hometown of Sheboygan, Michigan, and just never worked out. I think because I was still playing, I just kind of put it off. And then there was a hockey camp in my hometown, and they canceled last second. They bailed like a week before they were supposed to have the camp. And the ice rink manager, he's actually the high school hockey coach, called my dad up and asked, because I had tried to schedule to see if I can start a hockey camp there. This is before Great Lakes hockey was even around. He called me, and I just quickly thought about it. I was like, yeah, I'll do a camp. And then it happened in a week. I was kind of almost forced to either make the move or not. And, you got to get an LLC really quick, get camp insurance and whatever. And the first camp we had 20 kids, and we can't even think we got the name Great Lakes Hockey. I think it's such a great name. I was surprised it wasn't taken. So with the help of some friends, actually our camp president, Bud Natale, he's the mailman that I met in Syracuse, New York. He's retired since, but he's full-time with Great Lakes Hockey. He thought of the name, and Prepare Like a Pro. Pretty cool. It just happened in one night. We got it. We went up to Sheboygan. And then the following year, we went to Hoffman Estates and Syracuse, or Cicero, both cities that I played in. It was easier to recruit there when you have, feet on the ground, when you're not there all year, to recruit players or to get the word out. And it's grown ever since in those cities and beyond. And like you mentioned, Scooter helped it, get it rolling that first year. Terry's his role has grown every year. He's going to host his own camp, hopefully this year. We've been very lucky. Stan Dubicki, who helps run the Hoffman Estates, he's one of the Wolves, the goalie coach for the Wolves. Really been surrounded by great people. I think that's the biggest reason why it's continued to grow.
Yeah, 100% there. And just from like my experience, like the camp's been so much fun. Like you learn a lot, like just from like you guys, Terry, Scooter, when he was there, just Stan as well. And just like you learn a lot, and it's just like it's a fun getaway to like get out of like whatever you're doing during the day and just focus on hockey and just like what you're passionate about.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably
exactly.
For sure.
So like how much does it mean to you that the camp's like how much it has grown since like you guys first started, and like you keep expanding it like every year it seems, and just like different locations, like going back to the same locations. So, like how much does it mean to you with just everything growing?
Well, it's special, especially kind of grown a passion for the business side of it. That's not my full-time job. Obviously, I'm coaching, and at the time when I started this, I was playing. So I think because you've been there since the beginning, when we started with 20 kids, and I have good friends that are part of this. It's not just me. So like, it makes it fun to be kind of on your own little team, and it's a topic of conversation. And uh, the best part of it, though, honestly, it's the relationships that we build, like yourself, Jack, or like, how many kids in Chicago at the Hoffman Estates camps. This will be year, 5 or 6, that we've had kids come back every year, and you get to know the parents, you get to know the kids, and you see them grow, and they're comfortable with you. It kind of almost feels like a family. Uh, that's probably the most special. And we have great memories as a staff. We can think back to funny stories that happen in different camps, or, uh, just odd things. Even when we get away, when we go back to the hotel as a staff, we go out to dinners. And like I said, a lot of these camps are in cities that I used to play in. So it brings back a lot of memories to go back, visit people each year. In Syracuse, our camp, the apartment that I rented out, he holds an apartment for me every year that week. And basically I stay there, and we have dinner, with him. And then there's a bar underneath there that we used to always go to when I played for the Syracuse Crunch. We used to play darts till like 2 a.m. So we do that. It's just kind of like, it's really special that I'm able to have an off season, and it works in my schedule to go back and to see it continue to grow. It's definitely just lit more of a passion to make sure this keeps going, and continue to hire and surround ourselves with good people so it can grow.
Yeah, for sure. And just growing exponentially, and just keeps going up, and like,
Yeah,
just being with good people, like you said, just
for sure.
that's a huge part in like any aspect of life and
Yep.
sports. Like, you need to be surrounded with good people if you want to succeed.
Right. And we are, Jack, just to, I don't know if they get post this, but this week, hopefully this weekend, we're in the process. We're going to be posting all the camps for kids to sign up. Uh, Hoffman Estates again, Cicero, Holland, East Lansing, Sioux, Michigan. It's and maybe a couple more. So
I'll definitely be up for the Hoffman Estates one.
I like that. I like that. You're working for us this year. You
Yeah.
probably to a counselor.
Yes, sir. It's like, what have been some of your favorite Great Lake camp moments so far that you've seen throughout like the 6 years you've been having this camp?
Oh gosh. Well, ice
Threw a
cream.
lot at you there.
Ice cream social is always special, even though the kids think it's funny. Just the random idea that we serve ice cream on the ice to the campers. Usually the younger kids like it a little more than the older ones, but gosh, I can't even. Where do I start? It's usually I wanted. We missed out on Bud. Bud really is a special. He's probably the biggest reason why the camp's grown. He's the guy that makes all the phone calls to recruit, but he's honestly the funniest human, greatest people person I've ever met. And he was going to come to Chicago because of COVID this last year, Hoffman. He couldn't make it, but he does a Simon Says tournament in Syracuse at the camp. And you'd be like, Simon Says, that's not that funny. But the way he does it, it's absolutely hilarious. He gets the older kids, the younger kids. We usually give out a nice prize to the winner. And he just has us all rolling. For sure, usually the best memories and the funniest moments are usually with Bud when he's around.
Yeah, that's unreal, and just you love seeing guys like that just come in and just like, you just makes it a whole lot better, and like a lot, like you create memories like you just said, and just it's unreal having those people there.
Right. And I think that's a big thing about our camp. It's not, we have the guy when I used to, train in the off season in East Lansing, I became really good friends with the police officer. His girlfriend's a police officer. He'll be a lifelong friend, but he comes to camps, and we have him stand up there and talk to kids about, respecting the law. And I really do think that balance is important as a hockey player, as a person. So guys like that, guys like Bud, that come and are around the kids, good people. I think you can benefit from all different types of people, not just hockey players, when you come to a hockey camp. So they make it really special for the kids, for sure.
Yeah, that's great stuff right there. So Jared, I have a few more questions for you.
Okay.
So, do you have any tips for players looking to get to that next level?
Yeah, I'd say, like I said before, be in the moment. It's good to set goals. Whether you want to, be the starting goalie, or you want to make a travel team. Uh, Usually, try to don't always get fixated on yourself. Try to make somebody else better. Um, don't put your measure or your worth also in stats or in status. If you're just playing house league, I played house league till I was a sophomore in high school. Um, or if you're not on the top line, you don't play power play. I've seen so many players, the farther you go up, they they uh, they give up with a little bit of adversity in that sense, when they get caught up in their status. So it's really important, I think. Don't put your worth in stats, in what level or league you play in. I think the greatest skill you can develop is your own passion, because I think people that are really passionate, adversity doesn't stop them. They keep going. Uh, they battle through that. So put others first. Try to think of others, and then don't put your self-worth in stats, or even as a hockey player. I think there's we get caught up, so many hockey coaches or any profession, you know, don't define yourself as a hockey player. I don't define myself as a hockey coach or as a hockey player. I try not to. Um, I think there's more to life, um, and your value is more than just a sport.
Yeah, and that's an awesome response, and that rolls right into my final question for you. Is like, well, how important is it to develop a good mindset and developing yourself as a player, like throughout throughout youth hockey, junior, college, pro? Like, what are some tips on developing that good mindset to have?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Like I always tell usually campers, it's like hockey looking back is like a pyramid that, you start off as a youth, everybody's playing, and the number of players that play, as the older you get, it gets smaller and smaller, and they stop playing for different reasons. Obviously, not saying every reason's bad, but a lot of kids fall off because, you know, like we said, they're not getting playing on the team they want to play on. Uh, Maybe some social things come into play, and they don't want to make that commitment. Um, that like, to be successful in anything, you got to put in time. You got to work through adversity, work through failure. Um, I think I think that mental side is huge. That if you decide that you want to do something, don't let anything get in the way of that. Um, it's huge, because adversity comes to us all. Hurdles. I think that's what makes, in the end, success or victory so sweet. It tastes so good because failure exists. When you fail and you don't give in, you get up and you keep trying. I never played in the NHL. I was cut every year, but I look back, I've learned so much more just because I kept going, and I didn't give in. Um, Again, not that I was perfect, and I look back and there's disappointments that I wish I would have handled things better, but you learn a heck of a lot more when you don't give up. You keep on pressing towards a goal after you face challenges. So that'd be my biggest piece of advice. Yeah, that mentally is probably, I'd say, 90% of the game. You can beat that. You'll be well off.
Yeah, I love that response, and just like you just keep learning stuff every day and just keep developing that good mindset, like those good habits, and
Right,
it'll definitely help you in the long run.
for sure.
Yeah, so Jared, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate you coming on the show and just talking, just chatting a bit, and like
Yeah.
I want to wish you good luck the rest of your way with coaching, and hopefully your season starts up soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Jack. Again, thanks for having me on. It's been awesome seeing you at camp develop throughout the years, and you're going to graduate to a counselor this year. Really excited.
Oh yeah,
We'll
me
stay in
too.
touch, right?
Yeah, absolutely.